What is up, my friends, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to my Onewheel GT first impressions kind of like review. I'm gonna take you along with me. I go on this 12-mile ride, and let's just get the footage going right now. We're gonna talk about the Onewheel GT. I'm gonna share with you my my first impressions. We're going to cover every little aspect of this board. I'm going to talk to you about, we're going to compare it to the XR. We're going to talk about what I love about it and a couple little things that I'm not so crazy about. And yeah, let's just kick this off. So those of you that are subscribed to the channel, you know I already have a Onewheel XR. I've got a little over about 1,500 miles on my XR, and I just got the GT. And oh man, I'm a heavy guy at 208 pounds plus clothes, plus backpack and stuff like that. So the XR is a heavy load carrying my ass, and so at times when I'm trying to push it, it'll drop me, and I'll fall forward. Or even with the fangs help me a lot. It's just that when I'm on the trails and I'm riding aggressive on the XR, the fangs aren't going to work in the dirt, and that's when I've gotten hurt the most, man. Falling, going head first into the dirt or the sand. It's softer than concrete, but usually you're just not going to fall on concrete. Once you're an established rider, you're gonna fall when you're pushing it on the trails. So I'm so happy to report that this extra torque is like just as advertised. I'm sure you guys. I'm late to the party here. I mean, I got my GT here early, but there's already dozens of great reviews out there for the Onewheel GT. So if you find mine, I'm gonna try and put out the best review I can give you right now, and hopefully try and cover and share some things that no one else has really talked about. So yeah, the torque, it's everything it's cracked up to be. This board, I mean, you'll smoke an XR off the line. When I go to a four-way stop sign, cars always stop for me. They want to see what the hell I'm on, so it's like a spectacle as I go by. So now I can just from the stop sign, I just take right off. There's a lot of hills by me, especially on the north side of Long Island, and I take my board with me on my lunch break to work, where I work on the north side of Long Island with all the hills, and I wind up putting myself around with that XR, and that's not the case with the GT. This thing just shoots me up there. I get up to, for me, the pushback. We're going to talk about the pushback. I actually hit pushback on this ride here later on in the ride. We'll get to that later. But yeah, the pushback, let me just say early on, that pushback's very aggressive. It actually startled me the first time I hit it, because on the XR, it takes like forever for you to get to that, 18 now, 19, 20 miles an hour. You need a long straightaway, okay? With this GT, it just shoots you up there really quickly. So getting pushed back really quickly, and I like the fact that it's a strong, aggressive pushback. Even though it startled me the first couple times, so it's something I have to get used to. Now I'm just hoping in the future when we get the firmware update, because right now the custom mode is still locked. Like, you can't customize your board, the carvability settings. You can't do that yet. You can only pick from pre-made ride feels. So right now I immediately went to the Apex setting, and I've been riding it on Apex, which is supposed to be the the most aggressive settings, the loosest carvability. So that's what I'm used to on my XR. The handling, even though the GT is heavier than the XR, this thing is just as nimble, or even for some reason I feel like it's even more nimble, especially at very low speeds. I can do a quick about face even easier than my XR. My XR struggles when I'm doing about a mile an hour. It'll often want to drop me. Like if I'm going like an hour, 1 mile an hour or so, and I go to grab like my back gate, I'm trying to knock it off the board, open my back gate and come in. Sometimes the board will just like drop me. This thing is like, a couple of times I've tried to get this thing to nosedive, and it's almost like it's on a spring. It just shoots right back up. Incredible. I have super confidence, man. Really hitting this board hard lately in the last 2 days. I did notice that once you get below 50%, you'll start getting those power surges. If you're familiar with the XR, you know, when you get low battery, you'll get those little power surges where she wants to like drop you a little bit, but she'll rectify and save herself from going full nosedive. So with this board under 50, if you're pushing it, you're gonna feel those little dips, but she doesn't drop. You know, she saves you. A couple times I hit bumps really hard, you know, harder than I'm used to hitting, because this thing, just like I said, accelerates really quickly. And I'll have to say, the extra half-inch size on that rim can really affects the ride. I was surprised. That's like the one complaint I would have to say is that you're gonna have to get used to just a more rigid feel. It's not as soft as the XR, that floaty feel. It's a little different. You know what I love, the difference between the XR and like my Meepo Hurricane is like that floaty feel. You still have it with the GT. It's just that extra half-inch rim makes a difference. It's just a little more rigid. It's just like when you buy, you get in a car and you want to upgrade the rims. You want to put bigger rims and a lower profile tire. You can sacrifice, ride quality. You feel bumps a little bit more. So that's something I have to get a little used to. Feeling the bumps a little bit more. It's not that big a deal, but it's very noticeable. And I don't think dropping the PSI. I'm running it on the stock 20 PSI, the way they mailed it to me. And that's how I always ran my XR, 20 PSI. I don't know. Yeah, that's one thing that you'll have to, you'll notice a difference. But do I think it's, detrimental? I don't know. I think... I just don't think they should have changed the rim size. They should have just left it. But I'm adapting and adjusting to the extra size of the rim. It's not that big a deal. Those of you that are used to that Vega boxy tire, and then you get in a GT and you went for the treaded, just be very careful. If you're not used to that rounded out tire, I ride a Hoosier treaded on my XR, so it's very similar to this treaded that they give you right out the box from Future Motion. It's got rounded edges, so she'll lean really hard. If you're used to that, she'll lean, and almost tip over if you're not used to it. If you're used to that boxy Vega and you go to try and tilt and you're not used to it, you can fall on this thing. So you got to be careful. Be wary, new GT riders that are used to that Vega box, that Vega boxy tire. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? Headlights. Oh my God, the headlights are a humongous improvement. I like to go on a lot of night rides, especially in the summertime when it's so friggin' hot out here. And through my neighborhood, some streets aren't lit very well because I'm in the suburbs. And my XR headlights are horrible. They illuminate enough for people to see you, but they don't really brighten the way for you when you're riding on the streets. These headlights literally illuminate the street, the path ahead of you, so you can see upcoming bumps and potholes. I love it. I have super confidence now, riding in the dark. And there's actually a gauge on your app that lets you adjust the headlight settings. So if you're riding it during the day, you want to conserve range and battery, you can just turn put your headlights on low. Now I ride with flight fins on my XR, and let me tell you, with the high kickback, I went with the high kickback rear foot pad, and even the front foot pad, they're super comfortable. Let me tell you, and your feet really feel locked in, like I do on my Meepo Hurricane. We got that C kind of curve design. It really locks your feet in there. It's just that me, personally, I just got a little used to flight without my fins, man. I like to jump off the curbs and whatnot. A few times I'm losing my feet now, my footing, because I'm just so used to having those fins as a guide. So that's one thing I need to get used to. Will I get fins in the future by fly fins? Possibly. Let's see what they put out there. But I'm not going to be swapping my XR fins and putting them on the GT. I looked to see if they would match up, and it didn't look like they would really do much good anyway. If you drill into your stock, OEM fender, I don't even think I don't think the fins will come out enough for you to like actually use them. So I wouldn't bother trying to hook up your fly fins. I would ride it first and get a feel for it first before you try and drill into your fender. I don't think you even need them, man. You have an incredible grip with these new foot pads. They're amazing. And these, I'm using DC sneakers. These are like my favorite pair of sneakers to wear when I ride the one wheel. I have super thin soles. You have amazing board feel and agility. You feel everything with these sneakers. But the only drawback is that you get foot fatigue really quickly. So on my XR, I would get foot fatigue with these sneakers specifically at around like 3 or 4 miles. And I went 12 miles on this board with the same sneakers, and oh my God, it's a humongous difference. Your feet aren't gonna, if you're used to, if you're a seasoned one-wheel rider, you're gonna have even more range before your feet get tired. It's incredible, the difference with these pads. What else do I want to talk about? So we're coming up here, like halfway through my ride. It was a beautiful day, man. Oh, I love this board, so much fun. And I do a little quick stop here to make sure we got no ghosting going on. I was a little nervous, the first few times, stopping. You never know. But you can look down on your sensor. You can see, when you put your foot on the pad, the sensor lights up. So like before you get off, you can see if your board's gonna keep spinning or not. So far so good, no ghosting. And I just saw a video today on Reddit. Some guy just got his board, and there's like this rattling noise coming from the wheel. Like the scraping noise, like I don't know what happened. He said it's 2 days old. God only knows. So I'm lucky that I'm lucky to have this one wheel that hasn't caused me any problems yet. No ghosting, no rattling. Also, the handle. I love this new handle. I went with the aftermarket handle on my XR. I love this handle, and it doesn't like bounce or rattle like I've seen other videos, people complaining that it makes rattling noises. It doesn't. You probably just need to tighten, tighten it. Tighten the torque screw that holds the handle in place. Now here's a little straightaway, and I push it here, and this is where I'll hit my pushback, like right here. I gun it, and I'm gonna show you, like right around here is where I hit my pushback on the ride, and it just totally lifts me up. Let's see here. There it goes. Yeah, I mean, I guess you really can't see it from the perspective of the camera, but you'll feel that pushback. It's strong, it lifts you up, and then there's even like a beeping sound, but it's really hard to hear that beeping sound. You'll get the pushback, and it'll I just like the safety feature. I'm hoping, like I said earlier, that with the firmware update, they allow maybe an extra mile or two before you hit that pushback. I'd love it for the pushback to come into play at like around 21 or 22, not at 19 and a half. It says 20 mile per hour max speed, so why do I get pushback at 19 and a half? So that'd be like another complaint. But I think that's going to be rectified when we get that first firmware update. Another, one little minor issue I had that I'm really annoyed with is because I also have a Meepo Hurricane, and Meepo gave me like this T-tool with 4 different attachments to help you tighten things on the fly. It's just a convenience tool. One wheel, Future Motion being even a more expensive product than my Meepo Hurricane, they give you a torque wrench, this is what you have to, if you want to pull your fender off, you have to play around with this little thing. If you want to tighten the foot pads, from underneath the bumpers, you want to make an adjustment to the handle on the side, you're left to play around with this stupid crap. They could have given us a real friggin' tool. I mean, come on, man. You spent $2,000 on this board. This is what you give us. Sometimes it's the little things that matter a lot to people. And you should have gave us like a tool like Meepo gave us, man. So anyway, I had to order get yourself a proper a Torx bit set with a nice handle, because you need to make possible adjustments on the fly. It's good to have a tool with you, and you'll be dead with this little friggin' thing that they give you. What else did I want to cover here? Sensor issues. The sensor's very, very sensitive. You could just put a couple fingertips on there lightly and she senses you. So just be careful. when you get your GT, make sure when you're dismounting that it's not pointed at anywhere that it can just take off. You just never know with these things. I've been so cautious with where I take off, where I stop. So that you guys are just gonna know instantly with that bigger rim. You know, so be careful with new GT riders that are new to the treaded tire. Be careful. You can tip over. You know, you're more suspected tipping over if you're not used to that tire, because it literally has like a curved edge. You can just like totally lean it over if you're not used to it. You know, you gotta find that flat spot, and that's gonna be like your pad. You know, as you curve back and forth, you're gonna ride that little, you know, like what, 3 or 4 inches of flat surface before the tire curves. It's a great tire. Going up these hills, no problem. I got the torque. This thing gets me everywhere, man. So yeah, I think I covered things that I wanted to cover. Yeah, I covered things a lot quicker than I thought. So yeah, I figured I got everything else I wanted to say. So I have about 4 more minutes left on this ride. So I'll just hang by here and get a little filler for you guys. I'll talk about this ride here. So you know, I live on Long Island, and I'm fortunate to have like this state park right by my house. So you know, this is like one of my favorite routes to take. And now that I have I used to with the XR, in order for me to ride this whole course, I would usually just take my Jeep, you know, and park my Jeep and then use my XR. But now with the extended range of my GT, I have enough battery, plenty of battery, to leave from my house, as you've seen here, come right to the park, do you know, some trail riding. There's some amazing trails here. I'm gonna come back for more footage, more videos for the GT at this park. I actually caught. Well, I didn't record it, but I took my lakes. I did this. This is really rough, like lakeside trail filled with like drop-offs and rocks and wild roots. It's a rough course that I like to take on the XR, and I took it with the GT. It actually fell off one little area. There was like this giant little branch covering like a 6-foot drop, so I kind of like jumped the branch, but didn't realize it was like a even further drop down without the fins, man. I just had to, you know, I landed without my board, you know. I did a little roll and my board stopped, but I was so close to, I was like running this lakeside trail. I was so close to the lake, literally 3 to 4 feet from the shoreline. You know, taking, that's how close this trail is. And when I hit the ground, I'm like, oh my God, where did my board go? And I thought for certain my board may have like just ate it, took off into the lake. And thank God, you know, it was right there next to me. I was so scared. I would have said to Future Motion, hey, you know, my board ghosted right into the lake. Please give me a new one. Imagine, like, that would have happened to me. So anyway, I got lucky. The one time I ate it, my board stayed from, you know, taking off into the lake. And that reminds me, the fender. So my XR, my GT, I fell over once as I was taking that dirt trail, as I just explained. My board tipped over. The fender hit the side of the track, and so I got a nice little scratch on the fender. So just know that as soon as you tip it over once, your pretty black fender is gonna get destroyed or ruined. But I noticed from Craft and Ride, it already has 2 different models. They have a magnet one, and they have like a quarter size one where you have the fenders come up like 1/4 of the way on each side and leaves like the middle to show like the tire. So it's kind of like a hybrid fender where it claims to catch the dirt and the water, but still allowing you to see your wheel. So I pre-ordered that on Craft and Ride. It's like the special pre-order price. So yeah, I'm very happy so far. I feel so much safer on this board. Like there's so many times, especially on trails, where I just gotta take it easy, because if I don't, you know, my XR would drop my ass. My old heavy ass was flying. You know, I'm not no spring chicken, but yeah, this board's incredible. I'm extremely happy with it. Stick around, hit that subscribe button for more stuff. And I'm going to be taking this board around a lot on the island this summer, hitting up some more spots. Hey, if you're a one-wheel rider and you live, in the 5 boroughs, or you're living on Long Island, feel free to hit me up in the comment sections. Maybe we can meet up for like some kind of a shred session. Because I'm a solo rider, man. I haven't got no one-wheel friends yet. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'm loving it. Take care, everyone. Peace!